Welcome to another episode of my podcast. And today we're discussing future of AI in real estate with Coach Emily Terrell, who would share her knowledge in this field with us. So, welcome to my show, Emily.
Hello. Thanks for having me here today.
Fantastic. Well, Emily, you're well known in our Tom Ferry ecosystem as a coach who specializes in AI. But maybe for those who are outside of Tom Ferry ecosystem, maybe we spend a couple of minutes introducing yourself.
Sure. So I'm Coach Emily Terrell. I'm actually here in San Antonio, Texas. So those of you who are coming for to San Antonio for the eclipse that's next week, please be sure to let me know, or the week after, sorry, let me know. I'll be more than happy to meet with you guys. But I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I am a real estate agent. I've been an agent for about 9 years now. I have a small team here. We do about 60 homes a year. In addition to that, I do coach for Tom. I've been in the Tom Ferry ecosystem for about 8 years as a client, and then I became a coach about 2 years ago. And then I do travel and speak for Tom. So I do webinars such as something like this, or I'll go in and do in-person talks for people as well. I found that it's become something that's really a passion of mine, of being able to talk about all these fun topics like AI.
Thank you for the introduction, Emily. So let's jump into artificial intelligence. So, first of all, how you personally use AI in your life? Let's talk about yourself. What platforms, how you utilize these tools?
So when it comes to AI, and this is just kind of as I've been using it, a lot of times when people think AI or they think, they're wanting to incorporate AI, they get overwhelmed by all the choices. So what I do is I came about it from a different mindset. I always looked at everything that I needed to do in my business and I looked at it and said, how can I do that a little bit easier? How can I do it a little bit faster? How can I leverage either people or technology to help me do this? So because of that, I came into starting, I really just started with ChatGPT. That was going to be one of the easiest places for me to start. Now, for those of you who are not as familiar with the way AI works, ChatGPT, and it used to be called Bard, it's now called Gemini, they're large language models. So basically, they're the what makes it all run. Everything else is built off of these large language models. So I started with ChatGPT, and realistically, I started with writing better listing descriptions, right? I needed help with that. But from there, now for me, just to really answer your question, now I do everything all the way up to avatars. So for those of you who are may or may not be familiar with my Instagram, I have incorporated avatars into my business, into social media, into lead generation throughout the entire thing, along with a lot of other really cool tools that you can use to help just kind of make everything a little bit faster and a little bit easier. My favorite tool right now, though, and I'll drop this one, is called Sub Magic. It right now is my favorite tool because I pair Sub Magic with using my avatars to create better Instagram videos.
Cool. Yes, I'm aware of SubMagic. Let's take it slowly, Emily. For those who are a little new to AI, and I personally received a client in my coaching roster who actually don't have account with ChatGPT. I was very surprised, but let's take it slow and go from this fundamentals AIs, like you mentioned, ChatGPT, Gemini, and see how agents can utilize this to the best of their ability of these platforms. What are the best practices? You mentioned that rewriting listing description, maybe writing emails to clients. So maybe you can take us through one of these prompts that commonly used in real estate for these platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with a listing description, right? That's going to be probably one of the first places that people are going to be using ChatGPT for. Because before ChatGPT, we actually had other programs that would help with this. But right now with ChatGPT, the best way to do a listing description. Number one, when you're starting out with ChatGPT, my recommendation is to get the pro version. That is going to be one of the best tools that you can get. It's about $21 a month, but I definitely recommend it because it can help you write listing descriptions in a significantly faster way. Now, I'm going to give you 2 ways to write listing descriptions with ChatGPT. Way number 1 is if you have a pro version. You simply take your pictures from your listing, upload them into ChatGPT, and tell it to write you a listing description. It'll actually analyze the pictures themselves and help write a listing description based on that. Now, if you want to go one step further, which I do highly recommend, go one step further and give ChatGPT some context as to what you're looking for. So, for example, if I and here's the best way to describe context, right? And what it means is, Roman, if I asked you what color is the sky, what are you going to tell me? Yep, blue. You're not wrong. That was a right answer. But what is it? It wasn't what I was looking for. What I was really looking for was, what color is the sky when you're facing west, when the sun is just setting? Right? That's a different answer. And while blue was not wrong in any way, it wasn't what I was looking for. And that's kind of how context works with ChatGPT. You need to give ChatGPT more information to help it understand what you're needing. So the best way, and you can do this whether you're uploading the pictures or not, the best way that I recommend working with ChatGPT to get more context is to have it ask you questions. So maybe you'll start something like, I'm please use the pictures to help me write a listing description for this house. But also, if needed, ask me as many questions as you need to help you understand what's going on in the market, who the ideal audience is or ideal buyer is for this house, what's, information about the neighborhood or the town it's in, just anything like that, like any kind of context that you would want ChatGPT. And then what happens is before it writes the description, it's going to ask you questions. And it may ask you 5, it may ask you 20, but it's going to ask you questions. Once you go in and answer it, do you think it could take that listing description from about a 7 out of 10 up to a 10 out of 10? Absolutely. Because it actually knows. So like, let's say you find out that, the house is in a really small area that prides itself on, its rural-based community, right? That's the town I live in. We are very rural. We pride ourselves on that. But that's not necessarily seen from pictures, right? So we have to give that context to ChatGPT to help it write a better description that's going to be maybe have a little bit more of that vibe or those types of descriptions in it. So I definitely recommend providing that context. Now, do you think we can take the same concept and put it in for, I don't know, ideas to go on social media?
Right, you go in the right direction that my mind is going, which is using ChatGPT in particular or any other platforms in a way of conversational, in a conversational way where instead of just plugging in, we want to ask us questions that will lead to clues and conclusion. So I know we might be going in a little different direction from writing listing description, but tell me a little more about having communication with ChatGPT and how ChatGPT can help you write a business plan or find the right audience on social media. Take us that direction, please.
Sure, absolutely. And Lana, just to answer your question, because I know you just popped one up, you don't need a plugin. If you're using the pro version of ChatGPT, you can literally just upload the pictures right there. You don't actually need any plugins. You can do it from the app or you can do it from your desktop version. But so helping with, and we'll do one or the other. Let's do your audience first, right? How you can analyze your audience for ChatGPT, right? So let's use the case example because there's many different audiences, but let's use the case example of your social media audience. Okay. So, and let me explain how audience works. I just gave this example and I think it's pretty great, but can you think of a company that just found out that, well, there's actually a few few examples we could talk about, but one of the greatest examples that we have of a company finding their right audience, right? If you think about it, it's Stanley, right? So they just, as a company, found out that if you target the right audience when it comes to social media, you can experience exponential growth. They went from, I think, $75 million a year up to 700 or 73 million to $775 million a year in income in a 4-year span. That's huge. I mean, that's an incredible increase. And they did it because before they really started utilizing the right audience, their audience was men, right? Working men, men that, took their coffees to work, that camped, which is fine. It's a great audience, right? You would think that that would be the ideal audience. But what about the psychology of men? What do men do? Men buy one. If it works, they keep it. They don't need 12 colors. They just need the one, right? If it breaks, maybe they use that brand again, or maybe they just go to Academy and they find one that seems to work the best, and then they buy it, right? They may not necessarily go after that same brand, whereas women are different. My mother-in-law, for example, she has 12. I was actually just at her house 2 weeks ago, and she would come, and every day she would ask me, Emily, does my outfit look okay? But she would do it like this. She had her cup, and what she was really asking me was, does the cup I have, does it match the outfit that I'm wearing? And when she did that every day, she did it because it set the mood for her. And she has, like I said, she has 12 of them. 10 of them are at her house, and then she has one at my house and one at her daughter's house, so she doesn't ever have to travel with them. And that's the psychology of women. In fact, the one that I have was given to me as a gift, right? Somebody gave it to me and had it sent to my house as a birthday gift last year because they wanted to give it, they liked the product so much that they wanted to give it to me as a gift. And that's the psychology of women. That's how changing and making sure that Stanley Cup went after that right audience increased their business. And another example of that is the NFL, right? Think about it. Taylor Swift went to 13 football games and increased Travis Kelce's jersey sales by 400%. All she did was go to a game. She said hi. The NFL was smart. Their cameraman started pointing at her, and it became a phenomenon, right? So how do we actually take ChatGPT and analyze our audience, right? So why did I tell these stories? Why are they important? So let's look at one of my coaching clients, right? Her name is Jenna. Love her to death. And she and I have had many conversations about this, but she did a lot of videos in which she was entertaining agents, right? That was her thing. She would entertain agents. And while, you know what, that's great, she was getting agent to agent referrals, but that was really her only lead source, right? She wasn't actually targeting her real estate audience. Now, her goal was to become a luxury agent in downtown Austin. The problem was that she was still only entertaining real estate agents. So when she changed and actually started working towards her target audience, she started getting, $1.6 million downtown condo buyers because she actually started speaking to the people that were going to work with her. And I'm not saying that going after agents is incorrect, but also that was one audience, right? She needed to actually hit audience that were going to be repeat buyers and sellers with her. And so once she changed that, it did dramatically change her business. And now she's busier than ever. So what did we do with her social media? So when you're looking at your audience, there are two parts, right? There's the actual video, and then there is the descriptions. So the first thing that you can do with ChatGPT is take all of the descriptions, just take them all from Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media channel you're referring to, and take them all and copy them and paste them directly into what I recommend, a notepad or a Word document, but just paste them all into there. There don't need to be any line breaks. There doesn't need to be any designation between the different sets. Just paste them all into there. Then you're going to open up a new thread in ChatGPT and say something like, acting as a social media strategist, please review all of my Instagram descriptions and tell me who you think my target audience is, and then paste them all in there. Now, the great thing is you didn't need to do any breaks or anything like that. ChatGPT can figure it out. And it's going to go through and analyze your audience. And you're going to find out who it actually thinks you're going after. Does it think that you're going after buyers when you're trying to go after sellers? Does it think that you're entertaining agents instead of actually, giving more information? So it'll actually take a look at that and just give you an idea of who you're looking for. So one of my clients, his name is Jason. He's in Denver. All of his content is geared towards Denver area residents who are interested in real estate, or those interested in moving to Denver, just different concepts like that. I don't remember his exact ones, but there were about 5 different audiences ChatGPT thought he was interested in. And if I'm looking at his content, if I'm looking at that list, that's going to be one of the perfect lists that you have of somebody who is trying to sell homes in Denver. Now, if you remember, I mentioned 2 things. One was the descriptions. The other ones are the actual videos. Same way, you can do it in a similar concept. If you get all the scripts and all the dialogue that you used in your videos, you can do the same process and just make sure that what you're saying in your videos matches up with who your target audience is. So back to Lana, how many descriptions you need to put into ChatGPT, that's kind of up to you. I typically recommend 6 months of content just to give a really good indication of what you're looking for. You can do more or less, but if you go around 6 months, but in reality, you could analyze it with 3 posts if you wanted to. You could analyze it with 1. But you want to give a really good indication of what your content is going after. Now, if you've been working towards what you think are sellers for the past 3 months, then use that content from the last 3 months to look at it. But I've ran this example with my clients of as low as 1 month, and then some of them is up to as far as 6 months that you can do it. So you can actually go through that. If you're using the web version, another person asked, can you upload the links to the videos and have it analyze them? That answer is no. So it has nothing to do with ChatGPT. It has to do actually with the way Instagram works and the privacy settings there. It cannot actually go in and analyze the link or the videos from Instagram directly. I have tried. I have tested that out several times. The same thing is you cannot have it analyze your channel as well. I've actually tried, and it used to be able to. If you're a Tom Ferry agent and you used to, we used to be able to do it on tom.ai, but since then Instagram has changed their settings. So you cannot take a link from Instagram and have it analyzed on ChatGPT or tom.ai as well. I have tested those out because I was trying to put together some content for a speech.
Yeah, I just tested it. Yeah, it doesn't allow you to analyze it. However, Gemini can analyze videos on YouTube. At least last time I checked about a week ago, I was able to analyze. So what you can do on Gemini is copy the link and let Gemini analyze it. And this way you save yourself a little.
But let's be clear, from YouTube, it's still going to have the same problem. It won't be able to analyze your video on Instagram. And that's not a ChatGPT problem or a Gemini problem. That's Instagram has locked it down. So if you go to Gemini and your content is on like YouTube Shorts, you could pull it from there and have it analyze it that way.
Perfect. Let's keep going.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about, so we've talked about how to analyze the audience, right? So we're looking at, looking at that. And I believe you asked me, you said analyze your audience. And there was one other thing you asked me about, and I don't remember what it was.
And second, building the business
Yeah,
plan.
absolutely. So what I like to do and what I recommend when you're doing your business plan, because I love doing business planning webinars, is for one, I would gather all of the sales data from yourself of what you've done. Let's, say for example, in 2023, but be specific, right? Where you sold, where they came from in a very specific manner. I like to do the main categories and then subcategories. So for example, a main category is going to be your sphere of influence. It came from your sphere of influence, right? But not everybody in your sphere of influence and deals that came from there are the same. So I also like to include subcategories. So for me, for example, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. My husband and 2 kids do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and people reach out to me in that setting all of the time. I close transactions. I help people buy and sell that work in that setting. So in saying that, I'll put the category of sphere of influence because that's what it is, but also my subcategory. So I like to do all that. Plus, also the days you started working with that person, when you actually got under contract, when you closed, and all the different factors that you can. And I'll take that spreadsheet, I'll take that Excel spreadsheet, and I'll upload it into ChatGPT. Because remember, if you have the paid version, you can upload PDFs, you can upload Excel spreadsheets, you can upload documents. So once you take that into there, I'll actually start having a conversation with ChatGPT. And this is kind of, so Gary Vee calls it a thinking partner, right? He wanted ChatGPT to be an AI, to be more of a thinking partner for you. So this is kind of where that idea comes in. You'll go in and you'll start having ChatGPT ask you questions, and you'll start communicating with it to help maybe get some, what I like to call mic drop moments from it, like helping you business plan based on, 2023 production, and this is what I've done so far in 2024. Where should I focus on? Right? What should I start doing? How should I start really focusing on my business? Where did most of my business come from? Especially if you have data such as how much it cost, right? Like what it actually cost you to get, for example, that Zillow lead, right? If you spend $10,000 on Zillow leads last year, and I'm going to use easy math, and you did 10 of them, right? You know that each lead, each closing cost you $1,000, right? So it's going to be easier for you to go through and look at how much those leads actually cost you, right? And if you don't have that information, you can start going in and have ChatGPT work through this process with you, especially now, because what did we just do? We should be doing our taxes, right? We should be getting all of those expenses ready. So right now we're at a great time to be able to upload those expenses also, right? And tell ChatGPT, hey, this is what I spent. Help me create a budget. Help me figure out, and I understand that you could do this on your own, but remember, we're using it as a thinking partner. We're using it to help me. If I can save myself an hour of processing through something, I'm going to do it. So maybe it's uploading all your expenses into there and then going in and saying, hey, how much did I spend on expired marketing this year? What was my average cost for, I don't know, what was my average cost for every listing that I have? How much did it cost me per listing? Right? What is the cost of doing business for things like that? And then you can take that information and plug it into, your process of figuring out how many transactions you should be doing by lead source, but then also how much each one of those cost you. And in theory, if you have enough data, you should be able to find out, for example, how much you're making, dollar per hour. So one of my clients, her name is Jenny. One of the things that we went through in the process of doing this is we figured out that she was actually making an estimated $1,373 per hour for every hour that she was doing pop buys. That's powerful to be able to analyze the data and come up with that solution. So now, how motivating is that for her, though, right? She knows that every hour she works on it, she makes $1,373. So then she leveraged it even further and said, my assistant's now going to do it. So it's costing her, I think, $25 an hour to have an assistant that's making her, $1,373 for that hour that assistant's working. Right? She's exponentially growing how much her time is worth by understanding some of this stuff. And we can do this just by uploading data to ChatGPT to figure some of this out. And it can also help you go through, you can, that similar process of how we, have conversations with it. I mean, you could do the same thing for goal planning, right? Figuring out where you want to be in 10 years, then backing that out. Okay, this is where I want to be in 10 years. Now, what questions or what do I need to know and where do I need to be at 5 years? And now backing that out, what do I need to do this year? This is where I'm at in 2024. What else do I need to do in order to be on target to hit my 5-year goals and my 10-year goals? Right? Creating that thread to where you're just having conversations with ChatGPT of having that. So imagine it's almost like having a therapist, but for $20 a month. Having a business planning guru for $20 a month, right? Being able to organize some of your thoughts and actually go through that process for $20 a month.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. And I want to add, while you having the sip on the water, another way of using ChatGPT in this financial field, which is aligning your budget and your actual expenses. So what you can do is upload all the business expenses for the month and ask ChatGPT to align it with your budget, annual budget or monthly budget. And ChatGPT will actually tell you, Emily, you overspent on Facebook ads this month, or you underspent
Yeah.
on postcards, for example. So it's an easy way bringing down a lot of data into very simple to understand metrics. All right, so let's
Yep.
keep going. Emily, I want to ask you one more question. We've been comparing ChatGPT to Gemini, and I know a lot of viewers would be asking this: which one is better? Which one is more powerful? And which one to use?
I'm going to say the easy way. It's the one that you use is the one that's better. Let's be really clear. But so before recently, when Gemini was called Bard, I honestly would have said ChatGPT. It's it's a lot better. However, now that Bard has updated and it's Gemini now, there are a lot of really amazing tools, and there's a lot of really amazing stuff that has come out that Gemini is a lot better. Plus, they're also, because it's attached to Google, they're actually stating that it's going to be able to be updated up to the last month. So the data that it's been given will be more accurate, it will be more updated, with, like I said, within the last month. So, for example, like once we push into April, it's going to have updated information through March. So, it'll have that more updated information. And also just the simple fact of being able to analyze videos is huge, because ChatGPT doesn't have that capability yet. But Gemini being able to analyze videos is a big difference in what you're using. However, more people right now are aware of and are using ChatGPT. So if it's what you're using, it's what you're comfortable with, you can start integrating over to something like Gemini, or just stick with what you're comfortable with. If it's what you're using and it's helping you, then I would just say stick with where you're at. However, I mean, imagine being able to, because as you know, Roman, with Tom Ferry R&D, the rip off and duplicate mentality is huge here. We always want to be able to grow within the organization, and be able to get inspiration from others. So imagine being able to take, you know, a video that you're extremely interested in and say, "Hey, help me create a video that is similar to this one, is as inspiring as this one, but also matches my personality. Here's some characteristics of my personality." Right? Or if you have one of your previous videos, let's say you do a market update every single week or every single month, right? Being able to take your video, your market update video, put it into Gemini and say, "Hey, here's my market update video. Please update the script with this information." And now you've got a new script that you're not having to refresh every single month. You're having Gemini or an AI itself update that script every single month. And let's say you said something different on that video, right? Imagine if you just change something and now you don't have it on your written out script, you have it on this new script. Imagine being able to pull that script using Gemini and have it updated all at the same time. And then you can take that script and go and re-record your next video. Super easy, instead of having to go through the process of figuring out what you said.
All good tools. It's just certain things better for certain tasks, such as Tom AI, a little more real estate related AI, ChatGPT, a little more conversational AI, and Gemini, I would say, a little more technical with integrated videos. So it's not these or that, it's all.
It's like a CRM. Everybody wants to know what the best CRM is. It's the one you use, the one you're actually in and you're utilizing. That is the best one, because everybody is going to, they're going to like different settings and different things. They're going to need different stuff from AI. So they're going to be different settings.
Right. And
So
let's jump from ChatGPT and Gemini topic to a little more broader AI in general, because that's very common misconception. When I mention on the coaching calls AI, people start thinking about ChatGPT, when AI what is much broader service that we have. So you mentioned what was that? Submagic, you're right. I know beautiful AI
mhm.
that you use in that you gave us a sample of your working with this platform. So take us to other AI tools that our viewers might not be aware of.
Yeah, so I'll do an overview of what Submagic is because I love it. So imagine you grab your phone, right, or camera, and you record a talking head style video, right? So you'll take this video, you'll record this talking head style video, and you can upload it to something like Submagic. And from there, Submagic is going to um, go through and put in captions. So it'll do AI generated captions for you. So you're not having to sit there and type out the transcripts. It'll do AI generated captions. It'll also add an AI generated B-roll. Now, B-roll is, the background footage. So it goes from you talking to maybe fireworks going off to then you talking again. Then maybe I was talking about Texas, so I did somebody riding horses down the street, back to you talking. So that background footage, the everything that's not you talking, that's going to be B-roll. Now, what's important about adding in captions and B-roll is you have to think about how people watch social media, right? They watch it when they need to be quiet, such as maybe when they're in the bathroom, or I know it's kind of awkward, or when they're, watching in bed at night. And in both of those places, they're usually quiet, right? They're usually sitting there quietly watching. And so captions are going to keep people engaged. So the second part of it is after doing the captions is going to be the B-roll. And why B-roll is important is because the way we were taught as toddlers, right? We usually most people, most adults now were put in front of the TV, and even adults now, we do it to our kids. They watch TV and they'll see, like, back in the day it was Baby Einstein, now it's Coco Melon, right? And the scene for both of those shows changes every 3 seconds. So our brains were taught to change every 3 seconds. So because of that, we need our content to keep people engaged. We change every 3 seconds. People will watch that more than just a person on the screen. So it's important. And the reason that I love Submagic is because they have royalty free B roll that I can use. I can also upload my own B roll, but it's royalty free and it's super easy to put in because I can click the auto AI B roll and it will add in what it thinks. And then I just change what I think. So there's a ton of tools. We'll never be able to mention even a fraction of them here. But right now, Submagic is probably one of my favorite ones. So it's going to be, one of the easier pieces of content that are one of the ways to create a ton of content. Plus, I can do that in about 3 minutes is to actually like go through and create this content for it. In addition to that, so you mentioned beautiful.ai. So for anybody who's creating any type of presentation, beautiful.ai is a great tool to use because it can go through and you can literally go through and say, okay, AI presentation. And you can describe the presentation to it, and it'll actually create a presentation for you just using AI completely. Now, I use a hybrid where I create some of my own slides, but then I also use its magic AI button where it'll just create an individual slide for me. So I can tell it, like, create a slide with 2 images, one of the sky being blue, and then another one of the sun setting when I'm facing west, right? And it'll do that, and it'll create these images for me. And it'll create again, a beautiful presentation that makes it to where I have these slides like really set up, and they do look significantly more professional because of that. You could also use it for something like, I don't know, a custom listing presentation. Because think about it this way. We as real estate agents, we tell our clients, we tell our buyers and sellers, oh, I use technology. I embrace AI. I embrace social media. Do you think we should also have examples of that? Absolutely, right? Imagine showing up and you're like, I embrace AI. And then this is the listing presentation you show up with. And I share this one because back in the day when I first started, somebody gave me this as their listing presentation and they told me that I should use it. So I don't think I ever took it to anywhere, but it was given to me. I think I actually paid $50 to go to a class to get that as a listing presentation, which I think is hilarious. But imagine now showing up for a presentation now with a fully automated AI built presentation that's customized to a client. And within that program, I can pull in websites and I can pull in videos so that I can play them right there during the presentation and they can see examples of what I'm doing that's customized directly to that client. And I can do it within just a few minutes and have that updated listing presentation. Now, of course, I do also bring some printed out copies of stuff because some people are tactile. They like to have it in their hand. But I bring it that way because this way when I'm telling them I'm, you know, using technology, I actually showcase it as well. Now, to answer your question, Lana, I use the pro version of SubMagic, but I use it all the time. You'll probably be okay with just doing the starter pack, which is like about $20 a month. I'd recommend starting there, make sure you use it, and then upgrade as you need.
Yeah, I love the idea of creating personalized listing presentation or pre-listing presentation. Just imagine what the impact you would make to the seller if you would have seller's name, seller's house on the listing presentation compared to your competition when they're going to bring like their brokerage one that's just branded to their brokerage. It's a huge difference that will make the seller sign the listing agreement with you. Love it. All
Absolutely.
right. All right. What else would you recommend us to start
Ooh.
implementing, Emily? Maybe like we can
Well,
talk
it
about
just
these fakes for a second
yeah,
because they become more and more popular these days.
absolutely we can. So, uh, what I actually encourage is anybody that's watching this, if you get a chance, go to my Instagram. It's listed there, and go and check out some of the avatars that I've done. Just because I do challenge people to see which ones they think are me and which ones they think are my avatars. And believe it or not, people actually usually get them wrong. They don't do them correctly. They pick the wrong ones, which I think is funny. But avatars are great. Personally, I use a program called HeyGen, HeyGen, and I'll actually type it in the comments so people can see how it's spelled. But it's HeyGen, and it's like, hey, let's generate something. There are a couple of tips when you're creating your avatar. Number one, quality lighting and quality sound are important. While you can film them on your phone and you can film them using a webcam, I don't really recommend it. I do recommend, unless it's all that you have, I do recommend getting a better quality setup because it is going to impact the quality of your content. That's the first thing. The second thing is going to be the way you pronounce words and just your personality in general. I can talk really fast sometimes, and that usually comes across in my videos. Now, when I did my first avatar, I did this. I went, hi, my name is Emily Terrell. I'm a real estate agent in San Antonio, Texas. I'm going to speak slowly like this so it can understand me. The problem is when it created my avatar was like, hi, I'm Emily Terrell. It brought it down even further because it cuts it down about, I would say about 30%, right? So I learned, and pretty much everybody I've spoken to, they've done this exact same thing where they thought speaking slower was going to make it to where it did a better job and it did the opposite. So my recommendation is to overemphasize what you say, how you say it. So, overemphasize your pronunciation of words, just really be energetic. Be careful of your hand movements. Too many hand movements, it repeats it a lot. So just offer a few hand movements that will integrate into the avatars. And then it only asks for 2 minutes. I give it about 4 minutes of content. And I do that because I want it to really pick up on what I'm doing and create that content for me. So I create more content that's going to be a little bit higher quality, and I'm very, very energetic on it. And it seems to get me the best quality avatars out there. And I've done some examples where I had really bad audio and it did not work out well. Like the audio didn't actually come through very well. And so it made the avatars, the videos that I made with it, really bad. So once you actually do that and you create your avatar and you're happy with it, which HeyGen does allow you to do one avatar for free, and then you can make up to 3 videos for free. So I really recommend going and trying it out. You don't even have to sign up for it. But once you go in and you create your first avatar, it's going to create you can do the free version. Then there is what they call there's the instant avatar, I think. And it's where they go through and they make it a little bit better. It costs about $60 a month. And then there's a studio avatar. The studio avatar costs about $1,000 a month. But in that studio avatar, you can change the outfits, you can change the background, you can even change the hair. So you can just pick one avatar that you can use forever. As even if you go get purple hair, you could change it, right? So that one is going to definitely be significantly better. That does take about a week for them to create that avatar because they're very specific on it. I'm not there yet. I'm not that bougie to have a studio avatar. But so back to when you have this, imagine what you can do with these avatars, right? So number one, you can create content. You can create content without you being there. I integrate it into my social media when I need to create content, especially if I'm doing, a webinar or something where I talk about AI. Of course, I'm going to create avatars that advertise for it, right? But in addition to that, HeyGen can now create templated videos. So imagine this. Imagine for all of your transactions, when we call it something different, but for most people, it's called the inspection period, right? When the inspection period is over, you've negotiated repairs, you sent a video out to your client. Let's say you represent the seller and you sent this video and it was something like, hi, Roman, I just wanted to let you know we have passed the inspection period. Congratulations. The next step is to wait for the appraiser to schedule an appointment with you or with that at the house so that he can go in and check it out and take any pictures and measurements that he needs. In the meantime, go ahead and continue packing so that you'll be ready for move out, right? Something like that. Just that video, that like next step video. But instead of you recording it every single time, you just use the template. And then the template just changed one thing, like the name. So it was, hey, Roman. And then, hey, John. Hey, Peter. Hey, Sally. Right? So every one of your clients, they got one of these personalized videos telling them what the next step was. You could also do something like that for maybe like lead generation. What if every single time a new lead came in, you did the exact same thing? Every single time a new lead came in, you sent them a video with their name that thanked them for signing up and told them that you were going to be calling them in a few minutes from your number, right? What would the level of service be? Because I think it was Jason Pantana, he says that, with the NAR settlement and everything, this is the level of service that you provide as an agent is going to become significantly more important, right? So because of that, we need to make sure that we are providing a better level of service. And one way could be doing personalized videos to people, but also from you, they're semi-personalized. It's using your avatar instead and being able to create that better experience and that better level of service because of it.
So true, Emily. And another service that provides similar avatars is called Be Human.
Yep.
It also can match the name. And I personally wouldn't necessarily recommend focus on these avatars to create your social media platforms and social media followers. But for this, like SOPs throughout the transaction, throughout the lead follow-up, it's going to take a lot of time to create these videos when this avatar is going to be just as good as you are. But social media probably should be still like social. What would you say?
Yep. Yeah, I
Excellent.
mean, and Be Human is great. Be Human does allow you to actually zap, so you can use Zapier to like send it over directly. Hey Gen doesn't, but Hey Gen's avatars are a little better.
Right.
So I definitely recommend like looking at the two and seeing which one is a better option for you, and including it in your social. I include it sometimes, but I don't include it as all of my social media
True.
because it will say, even though I do actually, just because I want to create an entire YouTube channel that is only avatars. That's like my next thing when I decide to have time, when I have time in my life. I'm going to go ahead and create a YouTube channel just to see if anybody notices, right? If any person can actually tell that that's Avatar Emily the entire time. We'll see. We'll
I
see if
gonna
we get there.
subscribe. I gonna subscribe. Can't wait to see it.
I know, I know. Well, I'm not going to tell you when it is. You're just going to see a channel that's over there with Emily and see if anybody can notice. Because the goal is that nobody sees it ever. If they don't know, if there's not any other type of content there, they won't notice. So, but even with that, the goal is again, we're trying to make things a little bit faster, a little bit better, a little bit easier. And if you know using something like Be Human and it automatically sends that out, it automatically, like you use Zapier to connect directly to something like Zillow leads that come in or realtor.com leads, and it automatically sends them that video right away. That's going to create just, again, that better level of service. Now, if anybody watching this does this and they set this up and a video goes out because somebody puts in a name that maybe not be inappropriate, please reach out to me. Please let me know, because I can't wait for that to happen, because that's the only negative I could see. Somebody puts in a not great name.
That's right. That's going to be funny. That's going to be funny to see, and it happens all the time. Hello, this is
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse. Hello, Mickey Mouse.
Well, I was thinking something a little bit more inappropriate than
Yeah,
that.
I just don't want to use any other
Oh yeah,
because it's going to go everywhere. Don't want to curse, but
absolutely.
everyone knows what we're talking about. All right.
Mhm.
Well, we spent almost 50 minutes here, and I want to leave some time for Q&A. So please put in the chat what questions you have to Emily. We got some good quality content today. She showed us how we can change that degree of separation from our competition using AI. Hope you enjoyed it. So put some comments or just thumbs ups if you don't have anything to ask us. Any questions? Anyone?
I know it's a pretty heavy topic. I know that we've went through a lot of content that can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming. So absolutely. So Susan, do I teach AI? I mean, it depends on what capacity. So like my personal coaching clients do, we do learn about AI. I also do, like I said, I speak for Tom Ferry. So, if you wanted to reach out, we can get you in touch with the office to go in and talk about doing either webinars or in-person meetings. So I do it in that capacity. It's going to be, through the Tom Ferry organization. Awesome. Yep. And Stasia, I definitely recommend trying out the avatar. It's a lot of fun. And don't forget, you can always delete the initial avatars you do and redo them, because sometimes they're a little bit, they're funny, we'll say sometimes. I went through a couple of them that were just downright funny. So awesome. Looks like we've got a lot of thank yous coming in. No questions right now.
Right. Well, we'll wrap this up. And I think topic of AI has tremendous potential. We schedule another webinar with Emily at some time in the future. So I hope to see you all on our next one.
Awesome.
And Emily, thank you for joining.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.